Listen to episodes of the Nerd Soup Podcast at nerdsouppodcast.buzzsprout.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I'm Beau Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, boy.
Yeah, this should be fun.
Should it?
Yeah, I think so.
What's your definition of fun?
Hanging out, killing some zombies.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to treat this comment section like my emails. Not going to read them. Staying away.
I
have to finish it.
There's a cost.
So The Last of Us Part 2, probably the most controversial piece of art that we're going to get in 2020, and we need this. We need one of these every year, you know? We had The Last Jedi in 2018, Game of Thrones Season 8. We all need something to fight and bicker about because there's not enough division.
Yeah.
The Last of Us Part 2, the sequel.
Got a little rough there, like about a month or two ago when the leaks started coming out, and we both stayed away. So the most exciting thing for me going into this game was, what is the thing that everybody's talking about?
Right, and I knew some of the leaks, and it's funny because the leaks were kind of misinterpreted. They were true, but certain aspects were different when the game was actually revealed. But yeah, no, that was interesting, and also the controversy with the developers of the game, the crunching, trying to get this game done. And there's been controversy surrounding this game for months, and all the pushbacks as well. But it is finally here, so I guess we'll start with kind of general thoughts on the game.
I mean, the gameplay and just the look of the game was absolutely tremendous. And that's something we said when we first heard the leaks. Maybe if we don't like necessarily what happens in the game, that the gameplay is going to be there, the visuals are going to be there, and just it's going to be The Last of Us. So maybe there could be some story decisions that we didn't like, but at the end of the day, I think there was a floor for this game.
Right, yeah, I think so. It was going to be a fun experience because of the gameplay. And I think the gameplay actually improved when you look at the stealth, but just the overall look of the game. That first scene when Joel is giving Tommy the recap, just right there from that one shot, this is certainly an improvement. And even when you're riding up to the city, to Jackson, and you see the lights, and the first game still looks so good to this day, and this second game might be the best looking game that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about it, you mentioned just how like cutscenes and gameplay were just identical.
The way that the characters move, there were certain movements that characters would make where I thought, that's a real person. I never got a strong sense of Uncanny Valley, where I wasn't trying to figure out if they were real or fake. I was just kind of admiring the way that they brought these characters to life in this world, in this video game world.
And the game itself, Naughty Dog always does a great job of making it feel so cinematic, and I think what adds to that is the voiceover performances.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes criticize these games as too much like movies, but that's what you get with a Naughty Dog game. It doesn't necessarily make it better or worse, but they do a good job of it. And yeah, you know, bringing back Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson as the two main characters, once again, they slip right back into these performances. And, you know, just the emotion that you feel, you know, certain scenes, the way that you can feel the anguish, you could feel fear and happiness. It's incredible work that they do, and a combination of the writing as well, but all across the board, even the new characters. I was so impressed by Yara and Lev. I thought the two kids gave the best performances out of anybody in the entire game. Shannon Woodward, Westworld alum, we're Westworld fans here, obviously. I thought she was terrific as Dina, providing that kind of escape for Ellie through her humor and personality and charm. And also Laura Bailey as Abby and all of her supporting characters. Owen, Manny, every character was brought to life through these incredible voiceover performances. And it's tough because they are new characters coming into an already established world. So those performances, to me, were all across the board. They were incredible.
Yeah, and even besides the cutscenes, because those are great, but even like the small back and forths you have when you're on your little journey, and the grunts, the reactionary screams and things of that nature, it just feels so authentic and kind of, I don't know, I feel like sometimes that might get lost where, yeah, you see the cutscenes and the performances are great, but those little things throughout the game, I think, take it to a different level.
What's going on between you and your friend Owen?
Oh my God, Lev, now?
And that's something that they do in Uncharted as well, those back and forth quips.
I'm sweating like a hooker in church.
You brought a hooker to church?
Why not?
They're funny when you're just trying to figure something out in the game and they're cracking jokes back and forth. It just adds to the entertainment value. And this time around, we have Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson singing in a couple of scenes. I like the musical add-ons with the guitar, strumming the guitar. But those performances, to me, Very heartfelt. Take on Me might be my favorite cover of that song.
Take me on. I'll be gone.
And we'll get more into the changes in Joel's character in just a bit, but I think that was reflected in the performance. It felt like Troy Baker was more laid back. He was more comfortable in his own skin. He wasn't on edge, and you can really hear that through his performance.
Especially with the 4-year time difference, it's like you got to kind of convey in your performance that time has passed. So I think it's little subtle changes, but I think they are done extremely well in this game.
Yeah, and I think Ashley Johnson brings that sense of passage of time in her performance. It almost feels like Ellie is just simmering throughout this game. She has so much rage, so much anger that she is trying to suppress, but she can't. And it's that sweet and lovable innocent girl has become this hardened survivor and soldier in this world. And Ashley Johnson, it's almost as if she's more of the Joel archetype in this game.
Question. Were you wearing those same clothes yesterday?
They're clean.
No judgment.
It's patrol, you know. We're here to kill infected, not to look fancy.
And just to jump into the narrative a bit here, I guess a good starting place would be Joel's death. And this was the biggest leak.
Yes.
And it happens very early in the game. I think that was surprising for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, when it first happened, it was just like a shocking moment and just a sad moment because I was into the game. So I didn't really have much time to like reflect on whether, you know, Joel's decisions, because that was another thing people were complaining about, like Joel's character from the first game, he wouldn't allow himself to be in this scenario to begin with.
Jesus!
Y'all really thought I was going to let you do this on your own?
Well, I guess not. No, you just shot Aaron.
It had to happen. He was talking too much. I overheard him.
Well, people are going to be disappointed, you know. We told everyone he was going to be in this review. He's on the thumbnail, and now he's dead 3 minutes in.
Well, you guys did start without me, and this is my show, so. Stats, hit it. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Two Bags with Teddy. I'm your host Teddy. I'm joined here today with Beau, reviewing The Last of Us 2. Beau, what are your thoughts?
Well, I gave some of my thoughts a couple minutes ago, but I loved it. Great gameplay, looks great. Fan of the first one. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to come in hot and aggressive.
Okay.
So don't jump down my throat.
Well, I'm not going to jump down your throat.
I can feel it. I can feel it happening already.
Okay, well, just don't give out your last name.
All right, this game is going to be better than the first one.
Have you not played it?
Well, I'm thinking this game is going to age very well over time.
Okay,
people are going to start playing.
Right, over time, it's going to be one of those where it was divisive when it came out, but it's a cult
beloved
classic.
game at the end.
Well, that's the thing. It's so popular. It's the fastest selling PS4 game ever. So you wonder all the people who were upset about the leaks, some of the decisions that they made with the narrative. I guess it really didn't stop the excitement from the overall fan base.
Well, because think about it, man. They're making a sequel to one of the greatest games of all time. That right there is a tough feat to begin with. And then to tack it on, you're going to do something that you know everyone's going to hate. And that got leaked. It wasn't even like people played and it happened.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about all the controversies, and we'll get into some of those key things that turn people off from this game. Some of them so ridiculous. I mean, the fact that this game gets review bombed an hour into its release. You can't share your opinion on a game if you haven't played it.
It's
I'm
disgusting.
Sorry.
It really is horrible. It gets me
It's
aggravated, man.
It's an ill on society, and people shouldn't do it.
Because you can't review a movie without seeing it, so how can you review a game without playing it?
And then people will say, "Well, you just paid the $60 paywall." That's
okay. I did. That's part of that's how you play a game. You don't get every game for free, guy.
You don't want to play it? Fine. I don't care about your opinion.
Then don't talk about it. It makes no sense to even speak on it if you didn't play the game.
However, we shall speak on it. Joel's death.
Right.
Before we were so rudely interrupted by your bow and arrow.
Hated it. No, at first
hated it. Stopped playing the game.
Yeah, I almost did, but I powered through the game. But yes, I did hate it at first because think about it, man. You have a random person coming in and killing the most beloved character in the game, one you had such an emotional attachment to.
One of the most beloved characters in video game history.
Yeah.
I mean, people love this guy. He's like their hero. He's All Might. The thing with Joel is that he is an archetype. In that first game, we have seen it so many times. The old, grizzled traveler who regains his humanity through the journey with a young companion. We've seen it so many times. The difference with Joel is his decision at the end of the game. It's such a complex decision, and usually characters aren't being forced to make decisions like this. Do I save humanity, or do I keep the daughter that helped me regain my humanity? You know, it's so fucked up.
But that's what gives The Last of Us its name, is
Exactly.
because of how well written this game is, because that's what makes this character great. Because like you just said, it's one of the most common archetypes ever. It's just so well written and different that they do it fantastically.
Right, and they tie in his death to the first game because they give a name and a face to the doctor that he killed. They give him a daughter. They show that he's a humanitarian. He's an optimist. He's taking care of zebras. And this flashback it's such a great way to reintroduce us to this character, because the last time we saw her, she was beating the main character to death with a golf club, looking like an absolute unit. Now she's a child. She's sharing this bonding moment with her lovable and goofy dad. They're sowing the seeds of sympathy here. And also the scene with Marlene. This is not something that they took lightly. The decision to kill Ellie to try and manufacture a vaccine. Abby says, if it was me, I would want you to do it. Well, guess what? If you woke up Ellie and asked her, she'd probably want you to do it too.
That is what made this game so great to me. And hats off to Neil Druckmann, man, because like I said, Ellie took a back seat and you killed off Joel, and now you're giving a whole new story type to a random character, and she's written so well and they make you feel for her. That takes balls, man.
I always said that I didn't want a sequel to the first game. I thought it was perfect. But if you were going to give me a sequel, give me new characters in the world. You know, the outbreak has happened all throughout the country. I want to see different sides, different factions. And that's what we got with this game. We see a new militia with the WFL and how they overthrew the government in the Northwest. How you play this game and you don't fall in love with a character like Lev. Everything that character is going through, you know, being in a cult, being transgender, resisting the cult, being brave enough to be on your own, being a badass fighter, but then once again feeling that pull to return to your mother, to confront her, and what happens between them. You don't see it, but it's so gut-wrenching. That character was awesome.
You know, I want to go off of what you said, but you nailed everything. The only thing I will say negative about him is that he fucked me a bunch of times. I think he missed almost every bow shot when I needed help.
One of the great things about this game is the way you can adjust difficulty. There were so many different accessibilities that you could change. Did you know that? So you can make your allies stronger.
So you were running with Logan and James Bond, and I'm running with fucking... So who's better, me or you at the game then?
That's the thing. I put everything else on hard, but I made my allies badass. I've always wanted that in video games. Fucking Jesse blew our cover a couple times.
Really?
I'd pull out the shotgun, I'd hit somebody with an arrow, and he'd be like, let's go, fuckers!
You blow up your spot.
Yeah. And something that I'm really excited to talk about is how they take a step up with their gameplay. The discussion surrounding the first game was, the narrative's great, but I don't know so much about the gameplay. We've seen it before. I think that changes here. I think they've upgraded the stealth. They made the world bigger. Talk about an open world that's not
huge,
an open world.
Bro.
You could get lost in this world finding all those little things, but the encounters, the stealth encounters with this game, giving you 3 distinct enemies, giving you the scars, giving you zombies, giving you the WFL, and you had to tackle each situation differently. And there were so many ways to get around it. You know, you could be aggressive, you could be stealth, you can manipulate enemies to attack themselves, or you can fucking sneak away.
But that was what was so unique with the first one, is that you had to go into each fight with your own plan. There wasn't a plan to the fight in the game, because you can go all 3 ways. You can just sneak around the entire fight if you really wanted to and you were good at stealth. They added the prone, which was pretty sweet.
Prone was great.
You can hide in the tall grass.
The tall grass, I'm sure people are going to complain about that. It's so unrealistic. How can they not see?
Oh, relax.
It's like, well, you get shot in the neck and you just bandage yourself with alcohol.
Yo, was grabbing a hostage in the first one?
Yes.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
Ray! Over here! You let them go!
I think we got good stats on that.
Well, I liked all the weapons in this game. I love the incendiary shotgun.
Yep.
Bullets.
Yeah. You can build your own bow and arrow.
And all the upgrades as well. You know, upgrading different parts of your character, the listening, the healing. But yeah, the bow and arrow was great too with the explosive arrow.
Did you find yourself not wanting to search for items, but you ended up doing it anyway?
Oh, you have to. You become obsessive.
You want to get everything in every single section. I think they made more though. I don't know. I think there was like so much more in this game.
It felt like there were more resources, to find, even when I did have it on hard. And the cutscenes, man, were fucking brutal. I mean, I don't think it ever gets to a point where the violence is gratuitous, because it's a violent world. And people have made that complaint, but for the most part, as a horror fan, I enjoyed how gruesome some of these deaths could get.
You know, and it relates to Ellie's storyline, because she goes down a dark, dark path, man. In the first game, she's an innocent girl. That just gets ripped away from her.
It does. Yeah, she's definitely...
She's brutal in this one.
She's like lost some of that personality that she had in the first game, which is expected after... And you could see it in the last scene of the first game. The personalities kind of switch. When people make the complaint that Joel never would have been caught off guard, Joel's a little bit more careless in this game. He is stupid for giving his name up to strangers, and that you could complain that that's lazy writing.
This is my brother.
Joe. Y'all act like you heard of us or something.
Because they have.
But he's also a different character. He's not the fighter that he was.
He was finally relaxing, you know? He was trying to live his own life, happy in this fucked up world. That's the thing with this world. It takes no prisoners, man. And Joel being killed by some random person, it makes sense in this world. Any given second, it's either a zombie or you're fighting a fucking militia.
Yeah, I think even Ellie mentions that in the game, that it could be anybody to come back. And they acknowledge that.
We watched him cross like 6 people. Right?
Yeah, in the first game. It could be Bill. Imagine it was Bill with the golf club.
That'd be something.
Yeah, just you stole my comic book, Ellie. This is payback.
Hey! What'd I say to you when we walked down the steps? What'd I say?
I'm just fixing your stupid pile.
Don't touch.
And a line that I loved was when Abby says,
Who are you?
Guess.
and Joel has no answer. No, of course he doesn't remember you, because you could be anyone.
Yeah.
You could be a hunter, you could be a firefly, you could be a zombie. Joel's made a lot of enemies.
For him to not die by a zombie and to die by just some random person, it just makes sense.
Stupid old man. You don't get to rush this.
And I want to make a point about the nonlinear storyline, because I think it adds to it as you see how that relationship between Joel and Ellie was developing after the first game, what they had to go through. Joel trying to be a dad, taking her to the museum. It's a great scene. You're almost brought to tears watching Ellie experience that with the recording of the spaceship. So we start to learn more about their relationship, so you keep going back to the death scene, and you realize what was going on between them before Joel died. Ellie does find out that he lied to her. But that final scene at Joel's house, she was going to make the effort to forgive him. And that's just taken away from her, from Abby. So when you go back and you watch how emotional she's responding to his death, obviously it's somebody that you love dying in front of you.
Joel, get up. Joel, fucking get up. Please stop. Please don't shoot.
Joel stole Ellie's chance to save the world and also quiet the voice in the back of her head that keeps reminding her of her guilt of surviving. And then Abby takes away her chance to forgive Joel, something that was going to be very difficult on its own. Forget the post-apocalyptic setting of this world. So all of these choices being made for Ellie, everything happening around her leads to her own suffering, and in turn it leads her down this very dark path, a path of self-destruction, destroys her own life and the lives of those around her.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I like that.
I want to get into Abby quick because her storyline was obviously the forefront of the game. I think that was just so well written. They gave us so many more new characters and get through her relationship with Owen. She meets Lev and she takes him on as like a brother.
Yeah, Lev and Yar.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Abby is that there's a lot of disagreement amongst her friends as well. People think that she's going too far at times in her mission to kill Joel. And it doesn't bring her peace, because we also get the flashbacks with Abby. She keeps going back to the scene of finding her dad after he was stabbed by Joel, even after killing Joel. So that didn't bring her peace. So It's really the journey that she has with Yara and Lev. Talk about the cult, dude. Those scars.
What, the Whistlers?
Yeah,
those guys scared the shit out of me.
When they started whistling in the woods, I quit. I was like, I can't do this.
You took a break for a little bit?
I need to take a break. They were creepy.
That big enemy, the one that it was like the big girl and the big guy who never went down.
Yeah, the big scars.
I think I had to shoot them like 12 times before they went down.
The one at the end, when you're running around the island, when the island's on fire.
Bro, he did not die.
He wouldn't die.
I did not think that scene was going to end.
He was like the mountain in Game of Thrones, no matter what you did to him.
Yeah, he was looking like Gus, dude, when he got blown up.
Yeah, just walking out.
And he finally just went down, yeah.
Still scrapping.
What they did so well was that they brought back a lot of gameplay narratives from the first one, but they made them even better in this one. I love that they didn't take you love this one, let's just put it back in this game, but they enhanced it.
The one encounter that comes to mind is when you're fighting against a sniper, and you realize that the sniper is Tommy. That feels like it goes on forever.
He didn't miss, dude.
Yeah, it's flashing, his scope is flashing, and you're sneaking behind the cars, and then he starts shooting to bring out the zombies, so you have to fight the zombies and also duck his shots.
Oh my god, he was doing that?
Yeah.
I thought the zombie was just coming out. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's a dick.
That's great.
That's why why when I finally got in range of him, I was like trying to shoot this fucker's head off. I'm like, oh my god, it's Tommy. Yeah, but he tried to kill me. Fuck him.
Yo, but
I also loved Manny, calling everybody a pendejo.
Yeah.
We were supposed to hit the island tonight. Then this pendejo showed up.
The foreshadowing, though, because Tommy does teach Ellie how to snipe.
Right.
So when I found out it was Tommy, I was like, oh, shit. That was pretty cool.
They do the same routes every year?
Like a migration or something.
What's that about?
Well, when the barometric pressure reaches temperatures, I don't fucking know.
And another great callback gameplay moment was when you're fighting Ellie as Abby the first time. It reminded me of the fight against Dave in the first game when you're kind of sneaking around. You can't confront Ellie. You have to attack her with stealth. And that's the thing, you know, playing as these two characters, that first confrontation is so brutal. It's so great. Once again, I was aiming for Ellie's head, trying to kill her while playing as Abby. You just wish that you could sit these two characters down and be like, listen, ladies, this game is drawing so many parallels between you two. You have so many similarities. If you could only see what you've each gone through, you would understand.
It's more sad as a viewer because you see what they've both gone through, and Abby's been through the ringer too, man. She's had to save Yara. She had to save Lev when he ran away.
Right, yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. I would say that her encounters in this world were more extreme.
Yeah, and then she comes home after doing all that when she finally wants to take a break, and everyone's dead. Owen's dead, Mel's dead, the dog's dead.
Hey guys, I'm home.
What a scene to come home to.
Everyone's just bleeding out. And that scene on the island, talk about cinematic. That, to me, it reminded me of the bells from Game of Thrones.
That whole gameplay, too, was nice when you had to ride on a horse and shoot everybody as you get into the docks.
I loved how, you know, the WFL and the Scars are battling and they would notice you. Is that Abby?
Yo,
it's the apostate. Get him.
During that, when I thought we were going to be part, like, whoever we killed first, we were going to be part of that team and try and go through them.
They would accept you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if I killed the wolf, it was like the Scars weren't going to fuck with me.
There were at times where I felt like I was killing too many Scars and I had to even it out. That they were judging me. Lev and Yara were like, hold on here. Whose side are you on? It's like, no, we're Switzerland. We're impartial. And a relationship that I loved Ellie and Dina in this game, but I was disappointed by Jesse because I felt like we could have got more from that character. He comes in and he says, you thought I was going to let you do this on your own? And an hour later, he's like, go get that boat on your own.
Well, you know, he was going to say Tommy, though. You know, he made the right move.
Yeah, that is true.
I think
he given the big
Tommy.
line from the trailer. But Dina and Ellie, I mean, when they started to smoke weed, I had some weed. I was like,
you put one up?
I do that. Let's all smoke.
That was
exciting.
I was happy with that relationship because it was nice seeing Ellie happy.
She was able to sympathize with her and try and, I guess, bring some of that humanity back through her love.
Yeah.
And it was sweet.
You know, I felt so bad for Ellie too, man, because when she took her shirt off and you saw her bruises, you just like felt her pain, man. She's been through so much.
It's such a grueling experience.
What is she, 19?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
She just can't give up. She just can't give up this quest for vengeance because whereas Abby does eventually find peace through her adventures with Yara and Lev, Ellie does get that opportunity when it's kind of like the epilogue where they're at the farm and they have little JJ named for Jesse and Joel and they have this family. But Tommy comes back and says, found a blonde, built like an ox.
Yeah.
She didn't find peace with this new life, with this child, with this second chance, whereas Abby did, you know, and that's why Ellie goes back for her all gadded up, you know, when she had the Silence SMG.
Yeah, that thing was nice, dude.
Like 3
I was
Molotovs.
ripping through them, bro.
Right.
The emotional ride this game puts you on is fucking like out of this world. For example, the dogs in this game. When you play as Ellie and you're infiltrating the aquarium and you kill that dog, you're 3 days earlier and you're Abby and you're playing fetch with that same fucking dog.
You're playing fetch with the fucking dog you just murdered.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Because I think killing a dog is one of the worst things you can do. That was a new add-on they put in this game, which was unique. But, you don't gotta do that, man. You do like a fucking pigeon or something?
Well, at first I didn't want to kill them, and then it got to a point where they just kept taking me out. So
Bro,
I
could not get around them. Spamming box, and I'm just hitting them with a pitchfork.
Yeah, when you walk in with Lev and you find everybody dead, the first person you find is the dog. And Lev is like, is that? He can't even speak.
I want to get your opinion on something. Do you think Dina waited, or do you think she got driven out, and you think that's going to be part of the next one?
No, I think she left.
So do I.
Yeah, I think she left her behind. I think she realized... Joel makes the decision to save Ellie because that's what he wanted. He wanted to have this second chance to have a family. Ellie never says that she necessarily wants that, you know? Dina's the one who dreamed about having a farm, raising a kid.
Oh, exactly.
Ellie's like, I want to buy a spaceship. There's just so much of her past that she can't leave behind, you know? Like I said, Joel kind of finds peace by saving Ellie. Abby finds peace in a way. I don't know if Ellie found peace with that ending.
I think Ellie's peace is doing what she's been doing in 1 and 2, man, surviving. I think she went full-blown dark, man. I think she's enjoying the fight through.
Didn't you feel like it was a suicide mission?
Going to Abby?
Just making...
That's the way it felt, but
just not giving it up. It's either I'm going to kill Abby and find peace or I'm going to die.
Exactly.
Which is fucked up, you know, to be someone who has a death wish. The survivor's guilt plus a death wish. And I think the theme of revenge becomes more complex as you spread it across so many characters, and that's what you get with characters like Owen and Mel. And they draw parallels between Abby and Ellie, and also Owen and Ellie in this game.
Yeah, because Ellie wants to just, do her own thing, because in that flashback, she wants to be an astronaut and just live in space and just live in that time frame pretty much. And Owen wants to just live in his aquarium and kick back.
Yeah, he just wants to be a kid in the aquarium.
But they both just keep getting pulled back, and Abby is just so torn up with wanting to kill Joel that they can't have a relationship. And vice versa with Joel and Ellie with what happened at the end of part 1.
Yeah, that event at the end of part 1, it causes them to lose this time with their relationships, with people that they love. Abby says, I can't be in a relationship. I have to find this man who killed my father.
I know all the leads have dried up, but Joel's still out there, you know?
I know. What can I do?
And he becomes disillusioned with the war. He goes AWOL, so it's really his dream that she's continuing with Lev, trying to go and find the Fireflies at the end of the game.
I want to make this point that the ending that we got isn't changing how I feel about the game. I would have preferred her killing Abby just because of everything that Ellie went through. I think it would have been nice that she could have got the job done.
Well, if she kills Abby, then she's not going to find peace. I think that's the point we got through Abby. That if Ellie did kill Abby, it wasn't going to help her. It was just going to make it worse.
But now she lost Dina because of it, so now she's losing everything.
I'm not saying she didn't lose some stuff, but she would have lost everything, I think, if she kills Abby.
I guess, in a sense, yeah.
I know a lot of people out there wanted her to kill Abby. They just hated her no matter what. I'll tell you what, Mel's an idiot. Abby's friend, the pregnant one.
Oh, yeah, the pregnant one? What, she doing fucking missions, like 6 months pregnant guy?
She's out here like fucking Ethan Hunt.
We call child services on her?
Also, just show the baby bump. Don't shoot pregnant, you don't think?
No,
Ellie didn't want to kill her. You see how shook up Ellie was after that?
Well, I guess Ellie did have some humanity left. Do you have a favorite scene in the game? Because mine was when you were in the hospital getting supplies for the amputation.
That was an incredible scene.
Scary, dude.
So scary. When you had to go down to that to the basement. When Nora tells you, listen, we don't go down there anymore.
I was like,
Damn it. That Rat King motherfucker, that was one of the great chase scenes of this game. And also the stalkers, we see the stalkers throughout the game.
They did not die.
They were so creepy. The first time I saw them crawl, I was like, don't crawl. Be bipedal. Don't crawl.
I was turned around, and then you pan back to where you were walking, and then you're looking into a doorway, and it fucking shoots past the doorway. Took my mic off. I couldn't do it, dude.
It was scary.
The sound effects in the game was great. The sound in this game was phenomenal too.
And that's a continuation from the first game.
Right.
The sound design. I noticed the breathing a lot. When you were running away, your breathing would get really dramatic.
I was like, yo, how are you tired right now? You're running. I ran for 3 seconds, guy.
They were scared, man. They were fucking being chased by everything.
No, man, great job again with the stalkers and all the zombies.
Yeah, the zombies continue to be. They were swinging in this game. You had to duck and dodge like Mayweather.
Oh, that was a new one in the game too.
Yeah.
The duck and dodge.
Yeah. So the runners, the clickers, the sound design is always great, and the actual design of the zombies, they continue to be my favorite zombies.
100%.
And also the Shamblers, the kind of miniature version, the mini version of the bloaters. Smaller, not mini, but yeah, they were annoying too, man, when they would shoot out the spores.
Wolf, over here!
And, you know, the first game was really about finding a vaccine. It's more so in this game that they're just there. You know, you just turn a corner and it's like, oh shit, clickers, dramatic music.
The first game is humanity trying to find a cure, and this second game is people trying to find their humanity in this post-apocalyptic world. This was a game where, if I replay it, a 30-hour story is great because you can go back to parts in the game and like kind of forget about it. Replay the game that you played already and still find new shit.
I feel like you're going to go back, put it on the easiest difficulty, and just run through it like Rambo.
100%. And I'm going to make my guys like all jacked up.
Yeah, you're going to be basically...
I'm going to have Rambo, I'm going to have Schwarzenegger.
No, it's not going to be Rambo, it's going to be Expendables. You can have Jason
yeah, exactly.
Statham,
There you go. Yeah.
Stallone. You're going to have the whole all the boys. What would you give this game out of 10?
I give it a 10 out of 10.
Really?
I'm going to give it a 10.
Back to
it's
back
just
10
as good.
out of 10s.
Yeah, it's just as good as the first one, man. And I think it's going to be better than the first one over time.
I would go 9 out of 10.
I wonder how long it's going to take people to actually play the game. I really wish people just played and everyone played it. I don't know. If people aren't going to play because of spoilers, that's whack.
Well, you know, it sucks for them, right?
You know what? I take everything back what I just said. It sucks for them. Play the game.
Oh, guess the video's over. Ended pretty abruptly. Hey guys, Beau over here for one final send-off, and before we go, we would like to thank our very special Patreon members, pledgers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. You keep the lights on here at the studio, so it's really our pleasure to review all these movies, TV shows, video games that we all know and love. And we actually have a couple of shows that have been suggested by Patreon members that we will be reviewing in the next couple of weeks. And if you're a fan of anime, get excited because we have Neon Genesis, My Hero Academia, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not technically an anime, but also Castlevania. And of course, if you want to visit our Patreon page and pledge, see the different rewards that we have, maybe you can suggest a show, a movie, a video game. Or maybe you don't want to do any of that. Honestly, watching up until this point of the video is good enough for me. So, thank you out there, and stay safe.